Mic check, 1, 2, Kenny G's on the ones and twos.
Ready? Good morning. Good morning. We are so excited to be out here. Thank you to everyone who's helped put this together. Today we're going to be talking about pathway to medicine. I'm going to introduce some of the speakers, and then we're going to get started, okay? And then we're going to go through some groundhouse rules before we start, too. So the speakers today will be Dr. Isaiah Cohen. He is a medical doctor, and he's an anesthesiologist. Then we have Dr. Caitlin Butler. She is a medical doctor and she is a psychiatrist. He is going to be coming in from Zoom. He is a nephrologist at Mayo Clinic. He was on call last night, so we had to go to the hospital twice for emergency. So we'll try to get him in on a Zoom live at the end, okay? And then you'll also have myself. We'll be talking about pathway investments. And I'm a family medicine physician. So these are the objectives. So this is what I want you to get from this presentation. The first thing we want to do is we just want to introduce different career paths in medicine. We want to recognize that basketball is only one chapter and not the whole story. And we want to highlight real-life examples of athletes who transition successfully into the field of medicine. And we want to motivate you to prepare early for success off the court. Now, normally when I teach, I always give this intro question of the day. This is a question that I want you to think of as we're going through this presentation. A lot of you here are going to go off to college. Some will stop playing at college. Some will go to the NBA. Some will go to the G League. Some will go overseas. But at some point, there's going to be a transition from when the ball stops bouncing and you have to figure out what's next. And that is a very tough transition that we don't talk about. So we're going to try to introduce a pathway, just one pathway, because we're familiar with the medical field, but there are many other pathways that you can consider. But for this transition, when the basketball stops, for this to be a smooth transition, you have to start thinking about what is next now, right? You got to start figuring out what you're interested in. You got to start seeing that you're not just an athlete, you're an athlete and something else, okay? So, I just want to make sure I go back one more time. What career path will I choose after basketball is the essential question that I want all of you to focus on, okay?
Can I stop you right now for a second? I just want 3 people, you know what I'm saying? She's talking about what career path after basketball, you know what I mean? All of us eventually gonna stop doing what we love, either at the NBA level, at the college level, at the high school level. At some point, you're gonna stop what you love, you know? And so you gotta think about, like, what are you gonna do after that, you know? So I'm gonna pick on you. I'm gonna ask you, brother. Hey, brother, what career path after? Talk to me, bro.
I'm a grown man, so I'm already looking into being like an entrepreneur. I'm already investing in a lot of stocks and stuff like that. So just doing those things, those little things right there, that's what I want to focus on. So like my fast.
100% entrepreneur. So look, my man, hold on, I got you. My man here, he gonna already see it. NBA. Once you done, bro, you gotta still invest that money. You might get a contract for $40 million, but what you gonna do after that? You got family that you're gonna have to feed, you got the family you have to put on. But after that, what you gonna do to make your money longer? What you gonna do to keep yourself going throughout there? A lot of people say life is short, but life is long, man. Someone's doing jobs that we don't even love to do. Some people out there working 30, 40 years just to still keep up for retirement, man. Remember that. People say life is short, but life is long, man. And you gotta start thinking about that, what you gonna do. Brother, talk to me, man. What would you do? What's your career path after basketball? If you had to think about it, man.
I'm thinking of like I could
I'll put him on the spot. So whoever laughing probably gonna be the next one put on. I got you next, bro.
I mean I'm really thinking about medicine, you know.
For sure.
I could be a nurse.
For sure.
Thinking that, you know.
100%. It's a lot of athletes. We're gonna show that at the end of the day, but it's a lot of athletes that play professional ball that went into medicine afterwards, and now they still have a prolific career. They still have stuff that they're doing. Come on, brother.
You know, for me, for real, I try to get like medical staff, and it's probably mechanical engineering, for real.
I like mechanical engineering, man. That's what's up, bro. That's what's up, bro. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, for me, like, I want to get into, like, I'm a big guy, like, up and stuff, so I department, like say psychiatry and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying?
So Dr. Butler right here, psychiatrist. I want you to get Dr. Butler email, all right?
Listen, you're not here. All right, calm down. So let's go to some house rules before we continue, because I really want you to get out of this, okay? We're gonna have fun, we're gonna have time to have fun, laugh, but I really want you to get a message from here, okay? Because they're both very busy, they took time out of their schedule to come talk to you. So, questions we will ask at the end. This is going to be a very interactive type of lesson. We will call on you, but when one person is talking, no one else should be talking. Everybody understand?
Yes.
Good. Now we got some treats for you when you do answer questions. So we'll be giving out candy. And you want to pay attention to this PowerPoint presentation, because some of the answers to a Kahoot that we're going to be doing at the end, it'll help you win the Kahoot. So people who are, we're going to do groups of 4 or 5 at the end, and we're going to be giving away gift cards.
Y'all answer questions.
So before we also get into the program, we have some vocabulary words. I just want to make sure everyone understands, so you don't miss the message, right? So job outlook. Who can tell me what job outlook means for them? Anybody know what that word means, job outlook? I'm gonna call someone. What is job outlook?
And bro, when you in the crowd, bro, you stand up, you say your name, bro, and you speak loud and confident on that, bro. Cause you a man, bro, and you the only one you, bro. So you stand up, speak with confidence, believe in it, and go from there. Cause nobody else raise their hand. You the only one raise your hand, so you stand up like a man and you stand on it. You feel me? And be there, bro. Let's do it,
My name is Mike Maines, and I feel like a job outlook is how you view your job, I guess. Like your perspective on your job. Because there is many different ways you can view your job.
Okay. So let me direct that. Thank you for answering the question. So job outlook. Many of you are going to go to college and you're going to have to pick something to major in, right? It may be business, it may be pre-med, but if you don't do the job outlook, you don't know what's ahead of you when you finish that degree. So when you're looking at a job outlook, it is a forecast, right? What is going to be the percentage or the growth in the next 2 to 10 years of that job, right? So let's say you choose nursing. If the job outlook is not high, then that may be a saturated field and you may have a hard time finding a job when you come out of college. But if you pick a job that has growth in the next 10 years, then you will have an easier time trying to find a job when you graduate. That makes sense? So that's important. When you pick your job, you gotta study. You gotta figure out, okay, what is the job outlook? What is the prediction of, in 10 years, how much will this career path grow? Can I move up in the job? What is the pay? So all of that matters when you are choosing a type of career. What about career planning? Anybody wanna raise their hand and tell me what that means?
I mean, I think it's pretty much what it says, career plan, basically how you like plan your career, your future.
So how would you plan your career?
I don't know.
So, you're right, it is planning, right? But it's strategic planning. First, you have to do your research. So let's say you want to be a nurse. Well, how are you going to become a nurse? You got to go research what you have to do, the credits you got to take, what you got to major in, the tests you got to take. Job outlook is a part of career planning. All of that needs to be planned. So once you figure out your career plan, the next step is career planning. Who can tell me what mental health means?
Stand up. Stand. What's your name? think about yourself or how strong you are mentally?
Absolutely.
Somebody else raised their hand. Who else said they want to speak? Go ahead, bro.
Yeah, it's like mental health is like basically like the thoughts that you have in your mind, and like how do you like you want to control your thoughts, and like also how you filter your thoughts from good to bad, making sure you're conscious on it.
Correct. Exactly. Being aware of the thoughts that we have in our mind. And the best way that I can relate this to you all is physical health, which is what you guys address here. You guys are working on your bodies, how you feel in your body, but it's also important to be mindful of how you feel inside of your mind and your thoughts. So great job on that. Okay, moving on. So can anybody tell me what a DO is? A doctor of osteopathic medicine?
Anybody know a difference between, like if you go to the doctor, you see MD at the end, you see DO. Does anybody know the difference between the two? Are they both doctors? Is there a difference?
And don't feel bad if you ain't know. I didn't even know until I got to work. So just to be completely honest with y'all.
So we're just going to explain this since a lot of people don't know. So DO and MD are both practicing physicians, right? The schooling is a little different, right? MD is pretty much the basic pathway that you go into medicine, but DOs, they spend a lot more time on the musculoskeletal system, right? And they're able to provide extra outside of just medical practice. We can practice with our hands. So when you see these different initials behind somebody's name, they're still a practicing physician. It's just the course that they took and what they can offer to you as a patient, okay?
Can I just speak on mental health before? I like to relate it because y'all basketball players, you know. How many of y'all been benched before? All right. How many of y'all think y'all should have been starters, but coach said, hey, I need y'all to be on the bench, put somebody ahead of y'all. Okay. All right. Like, how do you respond to that? You know, do you just like break down and you go, or do you like get in the gym and try to go find a coach, say, hey, coach, what I need to do better? You know what I mean? It's gonna be times in your life as you keep going throughout, you know, high school, college, and you know, just keep progressing. And there's gonna be times when you have to figure out like what I got inside me, you know, and knowing that you can only believe in yourself and like finding people around you and reaching out to people, not only just coach, but there's counselors as well. I'm not so sure we have counselors here at the school, but there's people you can speak to make sure that your head is still good. There's a lot of people, I don't know if y'all see, there's a lot of athletes that lose their life to suicide, man. A lot of athletes, and you know, there's family around that's hurting because of that. So always reach out and check on your brother, check on your sister, make sure y'all looking out for each other. That mental health part is important, and I believe that that's something important to be done.
All right, so we're going to stop here. So each one of us is just going to talk a little bit about who we are, our story, our pathway medicine. So I'm going to start with, I think, Dr. Cole.
Again, I'm Isaiah Coleman Sr. I got my son back there, Isaiah Coleman Jr. The second time that he's been for speaking engagement, so I'm thankful for him to be here. And hopefully one day we might have an opportunity to have great fathers. Well, that's important to have seeing them also being great fathers and being good examples. One day we can get to that time, man. I hope it's well, everything is well with them. But again, I'm Isaiah Coleman. I'm from Jacksonville, Florida. Anybody from Jacksonville here? I went to high school at College Prep High School. Probably one of the best in the nation at that time, man. I was SGA president, I mean student government president, you know, and I only applied to one school, and that school was Family. You ever heard of Family before? You'll know. So here in Florida, you like three teams. You either UNO, UF, or FSU. FSU was always my team that I used to rock for. I ain't know too much about HBCU, but
he's just not here right now.
yeah. But I didn't know too much about HBCUs, and I'll never forget. I went to Foot Locker one day, and the lady told me about family. Yeah, you said, yeah, man, she better, man, one of the best decisions she ever made. I'm like, all right, man, I'm gonna check out family. My godmama, she went to FSU, bro. She was a Delta, went to FSU, and I was with her. I never forget, they told me about family. I'm at like college, prep high school, people applying all over the country. People going to all the Ivy Leagues, going to all the schools in Florida. I only applied to one school and I was failing. And that was a game changer for me, man, because I was around people that looked like me, but that also like on their grind, doing this stuff. And that was empowering for me. That was a good thing that I had needed to see. But when I went there, I wasn't sure what I was going to do. Some people said you should be a pharmacist because you was good at chemistry. I'm like, all right, man, I'll see what it is. So I originally went, it's called like undeclared. When you go into school, you don't have to major. So like, because I only applied to one school and I wasn't sure, I honestly, to keep it real with you, I was going to work a 9 to 5 to keep 100% with you. That's why I only applied to one school and that was FAM only. But I applied to FAM, and people saying pharmacy, so I started doing like science classes. And eventually, if you ever go to Walgreens or CVS and you have to pick up like some medicine for your mom or your people or something like that, I went there and I was seeing retail pharmacy. One of my good friends, Dewey, man, big time retail pharmacy. But that wasn't for me, man. It didn't feel right, you know. And one of my friends said, hey, man, you can shadow this doctor. I shadowed this doctor, and that was it. I said, I can do this, man. He's taking care of patients. He's connecting with the community. And that just felt like me, and that was something that I wanted to do. And so after that, I went for it. But let me tell you, it wasn't easy. You take a test called MCAT. It's called the Medical College Admissions Test. Similar to like the SAT, the ACT. Any of y'all start prepping for ACT or SAT? It's tough to like start grinding for those and trying to get right for those. But that's the same for MCAT. But it's just for medical school. People want to go to medical school. And so like I'm prepping for it. As soon as I graduated, I started studying for it. I stayed like maybe like 2 months trying to take this exam. And I failed. I don't do good. I think I got like an 18, not a good score at all. At that time, people was getting 30s, getting 26, 27s, 35s. One girl I was working with got 35. Here I am sitting with an 18, man. I couldn't believe it. So then I said, all right, man, I'm gonna go up to Philly. I went to Villanova for an MCAT course. I said, let me get out the city, separate myself, and just try to grind and get right. Man, I get up there and try to grind. I'm taking a bus and 2 trains just to get to Villanova, man, just to study. I felt better, but I take the test again. I think I got like a 20. I got a 20. It's now like a year and a half off, you know? And I'm like, all right, man, I gotta figure out something gotta change. So I separate myself, I move back in with my mom. I'm just grinding, just nothing but just focusing. I'm like, mom, just give me like 2 months just to get right, get everything. I started applying for this master's program while I'm also studying for the MCAT. As I studied for the MCAT, I ended up getting 24. That's like borderline good, but you just gotta show that you're good enough. So I do a master's program, and that's why I met FAM over here, and I'm master's at USL. And then I got all A's my first semester at USL. Then I started sending out emails, hey, I'm ready. And I got into a couple schools. I ended up going to Howard University and medical school. But throughout that process, man, before I got there, people started writing me off. He ain't gonna be a doctor. He ain't gonna be people I love. I grew up with. I can name 3 people on my head. That's my mama, my boy Shuaib, and my boy Lamir. These are the only 3 people I can confidently look at and say they believe in me. Like I looked at them and they said they believe they just write me up. Just write me up. All I was doing was just picking up receipts. They go receipt here. And when I made it, everybody was like, I believe in it. But you know when people believe in it. You know what I mean? You can look them in the eye, you can feel it. You know what I mean? When they believe in it. Everybody believe in it. But I made it through medical school. Ended up finishing medical school. I had my son, my 3rd year of medical school. I was going to go into family medicine, just like Dr. Gillian. But I switched it up. I went into anesthesia. It's been the best thing I can ever do. Anybody interested in anesthesia or want to know more about it, man, I'm an open book. I'll tell you everything I did. If I don't know it, if somebody else you connect better with, I'll connect you with it. But anesthesia is such a great choice. And you take care of patients that listen to you, that need you. They can't do the surgery without you. Everybody say you put them to sleep and you keep them alive. Keep the patient alive throughout the entire procedure, making sure everything is good and his pain is well controlled. Right now, I'm taking care of credit. So we we gotta look out for our women, we gotta look out for our mothers. Right now, I do obstetric anesthesia. That means taking care of, doing anesthesia with patients that are pregnant. That's a vulnerable population. A lot of women die during pregnancy. So like after you were born, every Mother's Day, man, show your mama some love, man. Show your mama some love, show your auntie some love. They go through a grueling process for 9 months. You know, some of them go a little bit shorter because they have some problems or issues. But I just want to say, man, just keep working hard, just keep going at it. Like, although like my process, it took me a long time to get there compared to people who just go straight in after undergrad, go straight into medical school. You just gotta keep grinding, and I think you'll appreciate the process a lot more if you go through that process like that. But we'll talk a little bit more. Thank y'all for your time.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning. I'm Dr. Caitlin Butler, known to most of my friends as KK. Whatever you guys feel comfortable with is fine. I am originally from Memphis, Tennessee, born and raised. And a little bit about my backstory. So I went to a small college in Kentucky called Berea College. How I found Berea, I played basketball. I received a 4-year scholarship there. And so it is So being here today, it means a lot because it doesn't seem that long ago that I was sitting in you guys' position today, thinking about hoop dreams and what I really wanted to do with my life. But I played NAIA, which at the time it was NAIA, it's now NCAA D3. And so I had dreams to go D1 and go to the WNBA, of course. But in the back of my head, I had to be a realist and understand I need to possibly have a plan B. And so I considered, medicine. I considered going to the military. I considered all these things. And so after I played my 4 years, we ended up going to the NAIA championship that year. We lost, unfortunately. Thank you, guys. We lost, but it's okay. But I was hit with a huge decision. Like, what is life after basketball? Like, what am I supposed to do? I had hoop dreams, this is all I do all was life. And so I began to think about a career in medicine. And one thing I did know was I was looking at job outlook, career outlook. What is always going to be needed? We're always going to need doctors. We always need that help. And also being a Black woman, African American, that's important for us to make sure that we have support within our own community. So I was very passionate about that, and I wanted to chase that dream to become a doctor. But truthfully, I did not think that was possible. I had no Black doctors growing up. I had never seen anyone in my family become a doctor, and so I really did not know how to go about that. So that's where career planning comes in, and reaching out to people that have been on that path. And so I was able to get an internship at Meharry, and honestly, I felt that doctors were like superheroes. I really didn't see myself being able to accomplish something, because like I said, I had never spoken to a doctor like on a personal level. And so there's an all-Black medical school in Nashville called Meharry Medical College. I said, you went to Howard, which is another all-Black medical school. He interviewed at Meharry. So I was able to get an internship at Meharry. So this was my first time being in a situation where I was around people that were in a position that I wanted to be, that looks like me. And so in medicine, there's this thing called MATCH. MATCH is after you've completed medical school, you match into a specialty. Like Tiffany's family medicine, we have OB anesthesia here, I'm psychiatry. And so you match into a specialty to learn how to become that specific type of doctor. So it's a huge accomplishment, it's a huge party. So I got invited to this party. And I was like, this is gonna be so lame. Like, I don't know what these doctors have to talk about, but it's probably nothing that I'm interested in. I was wrong. So I went to the party, as soon as I walked in, it was turned, it was live. And that right there did so much for me because I was like, okay, I saw myself in these people. These are normal people that just stepped outside of the box and were determined and worked towards something. But at the end of the day, anybody sitting here, if that's something that you want to do, you can accomplish it, even if you can't see yourself in that regard yet. And so that was a pivotal moment in my career where I finally believed in myself. So, similar to Isaiah, I took the medical college admissions test, scored probably worse than you did. I think it had to be like a 16 or a 17, and I felt defeated. But the difference between successful people and people that aren't successful are keep going. And so it was tough. I got down, I got some failures and got denials from medical schools after I applied, but I stuck with it. Ended up getting into one school, and that's where I met my lovely best friend here, Dr. Gillian. And if it wasn't for her, I know for sure I would not have made it through medical school. But we'll talk a little bit later about community and how it's important to cultivate those social circles and friendships and obtaining mentors to help you kind of get through. So that's a little bit about my background. I'll probably think of more stuff, but yeah. If you have any questions about psychiatry and mental health, I'll talk a little bit more about how specifically I got into that later, but any questions about that, I'm an open book, so yeah.
And I took the slow road. I did 2 years in a community college. In my first class I took was chemistry. And chemistry was like my first love. It was something that I loved the subject. I stayed up late in the library studying for it. And I wanted to just take more classes. So I ended up majoring in chemistry. I transferred after 2 years. We went to FAMU. Like Isaiah, I'm a rattler. And I graduated with a double degree. I was just really focused when I got to FAMU. So I did a double degree in chemistry and psychology. And then as soon as I came out of college, I was supposed to go to pharmacy school. And then I ended up getting a job at Walgreens. And I said, oh, okay, well, I'm applying to pharmacy school. When I finish applying, then I'll just work at Walgreens, and then I'll just go to pharmacy school. But when I was at Walgreens, I was getting promoted really fast, and I ended up becoming executive assistant manager. I was making a lot of money, and I realized I didn't like pharmacy, right? I had to become a pharmacy technician. I had to become, I think I had to be certified, and I just hated being back there. So now I was like, well, I'm already in a career path. I never did business, but I'm pretty good at my job, so I'm going to just become a store manager. So I was a store manager for about 5 years at Walgreens, and then I think the 5th year it hit, and I just wasn't happy. I was going to work every day, and I just wasn't happy with what I was doing, and I knew that my first love was science. But I just didn't know what pathway to take. I didn't want to do pharmacy. I didn't really want to do medicine because I always said I would never be a doctor because I didn't want to go to school that long. So somebody told me about a physician assistant program where you kind of can practice like a doctor, but the schooling is a lot shorter. So I did this program at FAMU, a shadowing program, where I was able to follow other doctors. And the PA that I was supposed to follow, her house burned down at the time. So I ended up following the doctor, and I fell in love. I was like, she was a leader, she was strong, she was connecting with patients, she was involved in the community, and I knew that was something that I wanted to do. So I went home, I had a discussion with my husband, and I said, I think I want to be a doctor. And he said, then go be a doctor. I was like, okay, right? So I think about 2 months went by. All I did was say I wanted to be a doctor. I didn't look at the job outlook. I didn't career plan. I just said it, right? And then all of a sudden, I think I was in the car with my husband. He looked at me and he was like, "You're not serious." I was like, "What do you mean?" He was like, "You're not serious." I'm like, "Serious about what?" He was like, "You said 2 months ago you want to become a doctor and you haven't did anything to do that." He's like, "If you were serious, you would spend every single day trying to become what you need to become." And I'm one of those people, when you tell me something like I'm not serious or I can't do something, I'm gonna be like, I'm gonna take the challenge. So I went home that night, I'm like, he's right. I spent every single day after that, and I researched how to become a doctor.
500 beats.
I did what you call job outlook, I did career planning, I came up with a game plan. I said, okay, I've been out of school for a while, I had to look up the prerequisites, I realized, okay, I got 4 years in medical school, I gotta do residency, I got a lot of credits, I gotta go back and finish some college courses, so I decided, okay, I'm gonna take it step by step. So I went back into community college, I took some prerequisite courses, I took the MCAT, oh my gosh, I think I did worse than both of y'all. I think I cried when I got my score back. I was like, anybody could have took that test and got my score. So I realized I had to get a little bit more focused. I had to lock in. Ended up doing the program at FSU because it was a pathway where we can get into medical school, and we had professors who was medical school professors. I got my letters of recommendation, and I applied to a couple of schools. And with Lincoln Memorial, I got on the wait list, right? And I was praying, and I told God, I was like, I'm not applying anymore, so if this is where I'm supposed to be, then I gotta get in. And then they called me when I think I was teaching at the time, and they told me that I got in. A lot of people during this whole process thought I was crazy for quitting my job at Walgreens. But a lot of people don't have to live my life. And I refuse to do something that didn't make me happy. I want to do something that I found passionate in. A lot of people didn't think, because I was a young mother, that I would even finish high school, finish college, finish go to medical school, but I proved everyone wrong, right? In this path that you take, whether it's to the MBA, whether it's to your career path, a lot of people are going to believe in you, and there's going to be a lot of people that's going to doubt you. But if you believe in yourself, if you plan, if you bet on yourself, you will get to any destination that you want to get to, okay? I think we all have similar stories in that we were wrote off at some point. We had failures. All those failures are going to impact your mental health. I don't care what anybody says. You're going to have mood change. You're going to feel down. You're going to feel alone. You're going to feel like everyone is against you. People abandon you. People are treating you different. But the one thing you have to realize is that nobody can do it but you. And if you stay stuck blaming your situation on other people, you'll never progress. So people that you think doubted you, you use that for fuel to prove them wrong. Everybody got that?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. All right, so we're just gonna just talk a little bit about some of the careers. I'm just gonna briefly go over some of the careers that we have in medicine. All right, so the reason why we're doctors, right? So we're gonna obviously be biased and want you to come into medicine. Medicine is one of the most diverse and rewarding career fields that you can choose. People will always get sick. They will always be doctors, nurses. It has a phenomenal job outlook. That is the one field you choose that if you do a degree in any of these fields, you better believe you have a job waiting for you, okay? So there is a need for people in the medical field. It includes a wide range of professions that focus on caring for others, improving health, and advancing science. And let's go ahead and explore some careers. So we have physicians and surgeons. These are people who are going to diagnose or treat illness or injury. Specialties includes pediatrics, surgery, internal medicine, family medicine, psychiatry, nephrology, who's one of our speakers. That's when you specialize in the care of kidney. And it requires a medical school training. So the first thing you have to do is you get a degree. A lot of people believe that in order to become a doctor, you have to get a degree in pre-med. You do not have to get a degree in pre-med. You can get a degree in basket weaving and become a doctor, right? You just have to make sure you do the prerequisites. So let's say right now, one of you want to become a doctor, but you are still an athlete, right? You're going to go to college, maybe off of a 4-year scholarship, and you're going to think, okay, well, what can I major in where it's not stressful for me to play basketball? You can major in anything. The only thing that you gotta work on is making sure you get good grades, because it's very competitive to get into medical school. So you don't have to major, you can major in sports management and just go back and complete the prerequisites later on when you're done with basketball. Just major in something that you are interested in and something that you can do well in. You just gotta get good grades, okay? Once you go to medical school for 4 years, you have to do residency, right? So when you graduate, you are a doctor, but in order to be board certified, you have to do a residency program. That program can be 3+ years. For family medicine, I had to do 3 years of residency. Isaiah, how many years did you do for anesthesiology? So he did 4 years, and in psychiatry is 4 years, okay? Nursing is another option. I think somebody here, raise your hand, who said they wanted to become a nurse? Yeah. So, nursing provides on-patient care support. They support physicians. So we work as a team we are nothing without our nurses, right? We don't draw blood. We are not constantly checking on the patient. We're pretty much more of the management staff. We come in, we give orders, and we make the hard decisions.
Nurses are the backbone
Of doctors, yeah. They are the backbone of everything. So they have a very important job in medicine. Levels include, you can be a licensed practical nurse, that's called the LPN. You can be a registered nurse, or you can be an advanced practice nurse. Now they have something where you can be a nurse practitioner, and you can kind of practice alongside of doctors and make medical decisions, such as the same thing physicians do. It's just a shorter pathway. Combine passion with clinical expertise. So if anybody's interested in nursing, that is a great field to go into. This right here is physician assistant. So it's really hard being a doctor. So this particular pathway was created to support physicians. They practice medicine, but just under the supervision of an actual licensed or board-certified physician. They can diagnose, prescribe medication, and perform procedures, and they typically complete a master's level PA program, which is about 2 to 3 years after you finish college. And then these right here are just some of allied health professions that you've probably heard of before. Anybody's ever gotten injured before and had to do physical therapy? You have physical therapists, occupational therapists, respiratory therapists that deals with the lungs, medical laboratory scientists, and radiologic technology. And then you can also go into dentistry or oral health. These are people or practitioners that focus on oral and dental health. This includes dentists, dental hygienists, or orthodontics. They combine precision, aesthetics, and patient interaction. And then pharmacy, if you want to go into the pharmacy field, you have pharmacists who ensure the safe and effective use of medications. They work in hospitals, clinics, research, or community setting. And when you graduate from college, you go into a pharmacy of doctorate program. It's a 4-year program, and then you graduate with a degree. And then you people who have research or public health, that is another opportunity where you're not really inside a clinical setting, but you're doing more of the back-end work where you're doing statistics and research, right? They focus on improving population health and preventing disease. The careers includes epidemiologist, biostatistician, health educator, and research scientist. And these opportunities, they involve in the academia setting, global health, and in government.
Can I touch on public health for a little bit more? I think this public health is super important. Let's think about COVID. Everybody remember COVID, right? That was a big thing, the pandemic. The public health people, they're the ones that are creating rules about having social distancing, making sure you have your mask on and everything like that. So if you want to be the one kind of working with when they have an epidemic and stuff like that, they start talking about measles and they have these infections and everything. Public health people are the ones kind of creating those roles and creating those barriers to kind of protect us. You talk about sidewalks and walking down the street. Public health people are the ones saying that, hey, if I notice that we got too many kids getting hit on this side of the street, this is what we need to do. We need to get a sidewalk for these kids. So if you think about public health is how can I help the public? How can I keep them healthy and safe? And I think public health is a great career if you ever think about it.
And then last we have mental health careers. These are practitioners, individuals who help individuals cope with emotional, behavior, and psychological challenges. This includes psychiatrists, psychologists, counselors, and social workers. There is a big growing demand for this profession. They're very compassionate and skilled professionals. Okay? And then veterinary medicine. Anybody who love animals? Right. So this is a focus on the health of animals and public safety. Veterinarians diagnose and treat animals. They may specialize in surgery, pathology, or wildlife care. This requires a Doctor of Veterinary Medicine degree, so you will finish your undergraduate four-year degree, and then you will go into another four-year degree program, and you will come out certified as a veterinarian. And then biomedical engineering and technology. This has a lot of growth outlook, especially with AI and the way that medicine is moving. You gotta think, if you go into a hospital, you see all of these different machines, they have to be operated, they have to be created. This is a great field. This combines medicine and engineering to design medical equipment, prosthetics, and imaging technology. This is ideal for students interested in science, technology, and innovation. And we are going to, and so this is just a wrap up of just what I'm talking about with careers. The same thing that we said in the beginning, medicine offers a world of possibilities from hands-on patient care to research and innovation. Each path contributes to improving lives and advancing health. And find your passion, work hard, and you can make a difference in medicine. So now we're going to kind of switch our gears to life after basketball, okay?
All right, so we talk about life after basketball. It says basketball is an incredible journey, but it's not forever. Every player will one day transition to a new phase of life. This talk is about building identity, purpose, and success beyond the court. Again, one day the basketball will stop dribbling. You know, it's not going to bounce anymore, and you got to figure out what is next, and that's what this talk is about. What are we going to do next?
So we have a video that we took off of someone's TikTok, and this is a former athlete. But I just want you to really listen to what she's saying, because a lot of people are going to go through this. But this talk is to help that transition a lot smoother, okay?
The first 2 years I'm in school, like I'm playing.
Can y'all get that? Can anybody get that?
The first 2 years I'm in school, like I'm playing college basketball. I feel like I cried more in those first 2 years. And like my whole life, yeah, just almost like we're shedding like a layer of like, I don't know, it kind of felt like grief, but I feel like grief's a little bit of an intense word to use, but just a huge transition. Just like an aching, missing, something about me just felt empty and like confused, and no one really prepares you for that feeling, especially like the way we ended our season. You literally end like at the peak of the mountaintop, and then you're like, oh, it's over. Especially right out of school, like that pursuit to find a new goal and identity, like really tough. Yeah, really tough and like kind of lonely. The first 2 years, or in those first 2 years, the first.
Let me just ask you about it. Any of y'all got like favorite basketball players? Who's your favorite basketball player, bro? Steph Curry. Steph Curry. What all Steph Curry do besides play basketball? Golf. You like golf? What else do you do besides golf? Let me ask you this: is Steph Curry gonna play basketball forever?
Might.
Say that again, sir.
I said he might.
He might. He kind of good. He might. So let me ask you, what do you think his plans would be after basketball? You know. Take care. How do you take care of your family after basketball? You ain't making no money anymore. You ain't. You know. How do you take care of your family after basketball? I'm gonna go to you, brother. So what else? Put money in stocks. All right. I like that. I like that. What else do you think of? On all the brands. So we got sponsorships and stuff. Okay. That's good. Then. Yes, sir.
I was gonna say what he said. Like he made a name for himself in the league.
Yes, sir.
As one of the most like famous players in the league. So he used his brand to like create something outside of basketball.
What's your brand, brother?
I don't got a brand right now.
Yeah, you do got a brand, bro. You do got a brand. You doing it right now by speaking about hey, sponsorship and saying Steph Curry gonna do this. You do got a brand, bro. You just gotta know it. Whenever you think about it, think of your brand. It's just like we got these Gillian Academy. What's your name, brother?
Robin Casper.
Robin Caspar?
Yes, sir.
We can have Robin Caspar shirts all on us, bro. You hear me? You got a brand. Whatever you want that brand to be, it'll be there, bro. Who else got a favorite athlete, bro? Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Allen Iverson. What AI is it right now? You say what right now? I mentioned myself.
Cheryl Miller.
Huh?
Cheryl Miller.
Cheryl Miller, yes, sir. Yes, sir. But you say AI, you what again? I'm gonna go right back to that. You don't know. You just came out with a book, a big time book, telling about how you've been going through everything, the process of getting to the NBA, what he did afterwards. You still make money. You still doing things to keep yourself together. He ain't play basketball for the rest of his life, but you have something after that. Cheryl Miller, talk to me. What's Cheryl Miller doing?
What's she doing now?
Yeah.
Basic basketball.
That's the way, right? So look, so let me ask you this. After everything was done, what happened with Cheryl Miller? Huh?
Can you say that again, please?
I say, after everything was done, if you could think about what she would do afterwards, what would she have been doing?
She would have probably, I can see her like starting up a business, probably helping out the youth with basketball.
For sure. So I got one more, then we gotta keep rolling, Let me go ahead and roll. Michael Jordan. What Michael Jordan do? You know what I mean? He was, y'all was sitting in the goal, who the goal for y'all? What Jordan do right now?
They make a ton of money off of multiple things, so say bread, shot opponents, and many more things.
So everybody got, even if you make it all the way to the NBA, that's our hope for y'all, is y'all make it to the NBA, you make it to the highest goal. But eventually that's gonna stop. You gotta figure out what you wanna do. And the things that you're doing right now is creating that to be able to get to that place where meeting with like-minded people, we can come together and come up with a project together. We can come up together and come up with a business together. So only a small percentage of players make it to the professional league. Injuries, competition, man, he got the injury right now, but he gonna bounce back, right? So injuries, competition, and time eventually end every career. But planning early ensures a smoother, more confident transition. All right, so this is a statistic. Can you say the statistic? Let me tell them all the statistics.
Alright, so let's start at high school. Everyone right here, well, majority of you are high school basketball players. There's currently estimated 540,000 high school basketball players. That's a lot. Only 18,000, that's about 3.3%, will play college basketball at all levels. So that includes D1, D2, D3, everything. Out of that 540,000, only 4,500, that's less than 1%, will play for an NCAA Division I basketball team.
Only 4,500?
Only 4,500. Okay? So then we go down from college. To get drafted, there's only 60 draft picks, right? And to play in the NBA, there's only 450 active players at any time in the NBA. So you see how those numbers dwindle down? Now, when we talk about G League, it's even harder to get the G League than it is to get the NBA. Only 350 to 400 slots. So you have people who in the NBA, and then they don't talk about to get the G League, you have former NBA players fight for spots along with people coming out of college, along with people coming from overseas, who was not even included in the stats, that are fighting for 350 to 400 slots. They just did a G League draft, and the #1 pick in the G League draft was a first-round NBA pick 2 years ago. So it's tough, right? Then 4,000 to 5,000 will go overseas to play professionally, right? And 25% of those numbers, they come from D1 graduates. That means if you take 12,000 high school kids, only one will make it to the NBA. Only one. If I take 100 high school kids, only one will make it to college on any level. Did I put that into perspective for you all? I'm not using this to discourage you, right? Because I want everyone to still, you fight for your dream, right? That is plan A. But when reality starts to set in, that is not a time when you're down on yourself. That is a time I already been prepared for this. If plan A didn't pick out, I'm still more than an athlete, and I know what plan B looks like, and it looks just as good as That makes sense? Because it's something that I'm doing that I'm passionate about.
Can you go back just for one second? So I'm looking at this here. It says 1.3% of D1 athletes will go to the NBA. So if I'm doing my math right, and y'all anybody correct me, I know we got some athletes here, but that's 98.7% people won't go to the NBA, won't get drafted into the NBA.
From D1.
From D1. So 98.7%. So if I'm doing my math correctly, what if I said I got the biggest roller coaster in the world, and they say, I want you to get on this roller coaster, but it's a 98.7% chance you won't make it off of it. Y'all hopping on? I'm getting some
Yeah,
money.
yeah.
You say what?
I'm getting some money.
You getting some money? So how you gonna get your money? You can do something separate after that. I'm gonna tell you, but it's just like a read my mind question. What can you do?
I mean, you can sue.
You can say, that's a good one, But what can you do before that to prepare for that?
You do your research.
Research, I like research. What about you, brother?
This might not be realistic, but I say you could buy some protection.
Some protection. I like you get closer.
You can ask people around like what to do and stuff like that.
Okay. What you gonna say?
You could ask them how it was made and how safe it is.
Yes, sir. My son said he got an answer. What you think the answer is? Huh? What you think?
You can ask people for help to know what you should do after it.
That's a good one too, but that's not the one I'm looking for. I like that. So what I'm gonna say is you get insurance, and that insurance is your backup plan to have another field. So you get insurance. I'm telling you, you ain't gonna make it, but if you get insurance, and now I got insurance knowing that my family gonna be good, because I'm coming from them. I got insurance that if I play ball, I don't get hurt. I got insurance knowing I got a backdrop I can do. I can go become that biochemical engineer. I can go become that psychiatrist. I can go become that entrepreneur. So if I tell you that 98.7 won't make you gotta have insurance. That insurance is what you gonna fall back on. And I hope after the day, you can start thinking about what you want to be falling back on. And that's the most important thing. I think just having insurance and knowing what you want to fall back on for sure. So it says, more than an athlete, your worth is not defined only by performance on the court. You are a leader, a teammate, a student, and a future professional. Brother, your brand, this is all about your brand. You are more than an athlete. Because once you step off the court, you in the mall, wherever you at, you got your brand, and you have to develop your character and discipline in basketball applies everywhere. I'm sure Coach Gilly and all of them, they talk to y'all about communicating, talking. Communication. Talk to your teammates. When you're on defense, make sure you let them know. Back door. You got to talk to them and communicate. And you got to realize that that's going to apply outside of just basketball. When you get into your job, you got to be able to communicate well. When you get into your relationship, you got to be able to communicate. Because she's going to be on your head if you ain't communicating right. So you got to have good communication skills. And then transferable skills learned through basketball that matter in life. Teamwork and leadership. You're going to be on so many teams you got to work with. You're going to work with people that don't have the same attitude that you want to work with, but you got to be good at it. I don't know if you had some players that don't give the same effort that you give, so you feel like you out here grinding, you feel like you out here working hard. I'm getting back on defense, but 3-4 other players ain't getting back on defense. It's going to be like that in the workplace too, and you got to know how to manage that and go around that. So although you learn about teamwork, you have to learn about that as well. And leadership, being a good leader as well. Motivating your team, checking on your team, making sure everybody's good. Time management and discipline is important. Resilience and handling failure. That's probably the best thing that anybody can say. Everybody talk about aptitude, how smart you are, how athletic you are. But in the end of the day, attitude determines your altitude, not your aptitude. I said attitude determines your altitude. How high you gonna go not your aptitude, not how strong you is, not how big you shoot the J, but it's really about your attitude. How hard you gonna outwork somebody, how hard you gonna outgrind. After they tell you no, they're gonna come back and gonna work even harder. Those are like the most important things, that resilience and that study. And then goal setting and consistency. You guys at a good academy where they bringing people in to come speak to you and getting y'all right on the court as well. But they put you in a position where you can set goals and then have consistency as well. And I think that's too important here at Brilliant Academy. Can you next slide? You want to talk about exploring new passions?
Okay, so now we're going to be talking about exploring new passions. So this is important because one of the questions that's important to ask yourself is what else drives you beyond the game? So what does that mean? That's the question that I want you guys to begin to look at. And how do we figure that out? So what hobbies do you have outside of the game? So what brings you joy? The joy that you may feel when you make a basket or you're gonna get ready to hoop. What are some other things that bring you joy? Do you like to go outside, ride a bike? Do you like to spend time with your family? Do you enjoy movies? Do you enjoy painting? You know, passions, things that bring you happiness within your heart and that feeling of fulfillment and taking a step back when things get tough. So, yeah, what is your motivation beyond the game? And again, trying new hobbies, internships, volunteer work, you know, making sure that you're a part of something bigger. That's something that is a transferable characteristic, like we talked about, being a part. So basketball is not an individual sport. You're a part of a team. So something that was really important to me that I missed when basketball was over for me was being a part of something bigger than myself. That's a very important part of community and service. And so that's something else that you can also think about. Education and skill development open new doors. So this may sound cliche, and I'm sure that you guys have heard this before, but nobody can take your education away from you. Once you get that degree, you can do whatever with it. It's yours, you paid for it, you earned it. And so that's something that nobody can take away. It's a little bit different from basketball. I hate to say it like this, but that can be taken away in a second, you know, with an injury or whatever may happen, God forbid. But with education, that's something that you'll always have. So just like Dr. Coleman was talking about, that insurance, that's gonna be your insurance, being able to think. And even on the court, this is something. So it's not just about the physicality and being the biggest, you can punch it on somebody, you can dunk. But your IQ, are you able to think beyond the game? Are you able to think 2 or 3 steps ahead? You have to do the same when you're planning your career and thinking about your life. So that's the insurance that Dr. Coleman was talking about. Okay, education and career planning. So staying committed to academics. Your degree is your backup plan. So exactly what I just said. We pressed it. We exploring career counseling and mentorship programs. So I'm so happy that this is here because having a mentor, having that community, having that support system is going to be so important. So I think one thing that I'm sure Tiffany can attest to that set me apart, that got me through medical school was being vulnerable, knowing my limitations. And I think that's something that a lot of people that I noticed had a problem with. Really what it comes down to is pride. And so asking for help is never a problem. That's never going to be an issue. That's always going to be the best thing that you can do. Being okay with not knowing, being okay with asking questions. Just relinquish any kind of shame or pride that you may have moving forward with that. If you see something that somebody else is doing, whether that's a characteristic characteristic. You like how they move. You like their swag. You like how they move in the world. You can pull them aside and say, hey, I noticed this. Can you put me on? Can you help me to become that? That's important in life. If you see something that you want, figure out how to go get it. Ask the questions. There's nothing wrong with that. Actually, I think it reflects better on you when you are okay with asking a question and sharing your vulnerabilities and saying, hey, I actually don't understand how to do this. Can you help me? People are going to look at you differently. You might not feel that right now, but I can guarantee it. So I said all that to say, if you see something or somebody that is doing what you aspire to do, reach out, have a mentor, so that you don't have to reinvent the wheel. They can help you move forward. And then lastly, consider careers related to sports, such as coaching, sports media, sports medicine, business, or media. There's plenty of things. So you can always circle back to basketball in sports. That's actually something that I'm interested in as well. So right now I'm doing a fellowship in child and adolescent psychiatry, which is a subspecialty. So I'm working with young children, young adults and adolescents, but I'm also interested in sports medicine. There's a specific specialty in psychiatry that works with athletes. So y'all's favorite players, my supervising attendant, I'm from Memphis, so I'm a Grizzlies fan. We work with, the John Morants, the Jerry Jacksons. These players understand the importance of mental health, and so there's plenty, you can always circle it back to what your passions are and tailor it to what you want.
I'm going to kind of end it with some success stories. There are many former players that have become successful in new careers. Think about Kobe Bryant, who's an entrepreneur and storyteller. You have Shaquille O'Neal, who's a businessman, and he's now a PhD holder. Maya Moore, who's an activist, and she's a law reform advocate. They each use lessons from basketball to build their next chapter. And so when Isaiah is saying that you have a brand, a lot of you will go into college, and college now is NIL, right? And so when you have NIL, you are going to be representing yourself. Representing yourself as a brand. And you want to make sure that when you choose an NIL deal, that they also represent what you're trying to show the world your brand is. So you have to start now figuring out, what is my brand? What do I want to stand for? And how do I present that to the world? Here are some athletes who either played D1 college, who played professional athletes, who actually left and went to the medical field and became physicians. So my role is really big. He played college basketball at Florida State University. He then went to the NFL and left and became a neurosurgeon resident and now a physician. Lauren, he was a football player professionally who ended up becoming a physician. Greg Carr played college football at Argonne University and he went into the NFL, and he is now an orthopedic surgeon. You have Eric Bowles, who is right there in that white coat. He went to college, he played D1 college basketball, and he's now a physician. And then Nicole Harrison is somebody he ran track and field for college at Princeton University, who is now an eye surgeon. So it is not impossible to go on a scholarship, play D1 college basketball, even go to the NBA and say, hey, maybe I do want to become a doctor. This is something I want to go down this road. It is possible. If they can do it, then you can do it.
Can we go back just for a second? I didn't even know Aaron Bowles was up there, but he actually went to medical school with me at Howard University College of Medicine. And we used to go up to the gym at Bird Gymnasium. We used to have like a lot of Howard D1 athletes coming in and playing. This guy here, we come in after exams. He was like, I think like a year or two above me. But after he would do everything, he'll come from the third year, he would go into the hospitals, he'll be doing a lot of like your internships, doing your rotations. But he would come down to the gym, and just be balling them up. Just be balling them up. I'm talking about these boys at Howard, like younger than him, he just out there just getting it. And he had like the tenacity, my man was grinding. He just wouldn't stop, man. And like, here he is. It's crazy to see this. That he's here now. I just completely forgot all about him. But my man here, man, he was a baller. He was like that. But he also like grinding. He was thinking about NBA. He was thinking about things outside for like masters in business administration, which he had his MBA, and he was always thinking like next step, man. I did admire that about him. So that's pretty cool to see him work with. It's like a big time D1 athlete that went into PMLR and doing his thing. Man. Great guy, man. I can say for sure he's always jobs on one man, but hey, he's still doing it, man. I'm proud of him, man.
All right, so this right here is just mental health and identity, right? Transitioning away from basketball can be it can be emotionally tough, right? So you're gonna go through the emotions, but if you already have a game plan, if you refocus, if you buckle down the same way you do for basketball, the things that you apply to basketball, you apply it to the next step, that transition is a lot smoother. It is normal to feel lost or uncertain, and this is the time where you don't just go in a room and just shut yourself away from the world. You go and you seek support. You seek support from coaches, peers, counselors. You are not alone, okay?
I just want to speak on support from coaches, peers, and counselors. And I just briefly want to share a bit about Tiffany and I's experience when we were in medical school. We were in the middle of nowhere, a town called Harrogate, Tennessee. And I can remember the first day I saw Tiffany. We locked eyes because I hadn't seen anybody else that looked like me. We locked eyes, and from that moment we knew, like, we're going to have to, without even saying words, we need each other, we're gonna have to get through this together. This is gonna be some of the hardest, most challenging situations, things that we'll have to do in our life. Excuse me. So I just wanna say that having that support system is really, really gonna carry you through. And while that was one of the hardest challenges, I love a challenge. That's why I hoop, that's why I play basketball. But completing medical school and becoming a doctor is not for the weak, truthfully, and I like that. I like that challenge. But looking back on it now, looking back on all of the hard times, all of the sleepless nights, I can remember Tiffany and I being up all day, walking into a test after no sleep, no food, we're studying, grinding, just like y'all are doing here. You're making a sacrifice here for your career. And when I look back on it now, all the hard times, I smile. And I think about how those were some of the best times of my life. And so I say that to say that on the other side of that grind and grit, if it was easy, this is what my Nana always says, if it was easy, everybody could do it. So that's definitely going to set you apart if you have that in you. But making sure that you have that support system and cultivating those relationships with mentors and friends is going to be key, important.
Yeah, I'm just gonna piggyback off that. When we came into medical school, how many people were in our class? Like 150? Okay. So you gotta understand how hard it is to get to medical school, the emotional toll. You have about 10,000 to 11,000 applicants applying to each medical school.
Similar to y'all's number.
Right.
Yeah.
We're not far off. How hard it is to get to the MBA is how hard it's kind of not as bad, but it's hard to get to become a doctor. But you have 10,000 to 11,000 applicants for one school, and there's limited schools, right? We had a big class because we were 150. Majority of the schools are only taking 25 to 50 students in their medical school program. And so not only do you have to you gotta pass the MCAT, you gotta go and wow them in the interview. What sets you apart from the 10,000 other people that want to be a doctor? And then they don't talk about you can get into medical school, but the hardest part is staying in. It was only 18 people that look like not just African Americans, just people that look like us, right? And because me and KK, we formed a group, we made sure that we knew that we couldn't do this alone. We started to form a group, and we actually started holding our own classes where we would come together and we would teach and tutor. And the people that we seen that was alone, they did not make it out of medical school. They failed. Because they had pride, ego, they didn't want to reach out, they wanted people to think that they were smart, and they was drowning, right? And the people who were vulnerable, who had a community, those are the people who succeeded in medicine. so important that you have a support group, that you reach out to people, and you don't try to do it alone.
She speak about vulnerability, but I believe that we connect more with our failures than our successes. Like we've all been benched before. We've all been told, man, that wasn't a good shot right there, man. Why you take that shot? You know. But we connect more with our failures than our success, and I think we can be vulnerable and connect with people, connect with like-minded people that's gonna lift you up. I think that's a good place. And you hear it from us. Like, it's good. We don't work with y'all every day, you know. So if I can get one of the coaches, man, I don't care which one, man, just tell me about a failure you had, because they see us, they don't see us every day, but they see y'all every day, you know. And I see men back there that probably have failures as well. But here they are teaching young youth every day, growing them to good men that's gonna go out there and grind, put the depth of people in their society. And again, they see us one time, but they see y'all every day. And if I could just get one of y'all to just be vulnerable for a moment, tell them about a failure, you know, but then tell them how y'all came back from, man. I would appreciate it. And I'll take the Gillian brother, because I know this place here didn't come just by your first time just applying for it. I know this ain't y'all first rodeo in terms of applying for a school or applying to have a program. I'm sure it's been many a spots before that where you said, hey, I wanted to do this, and it didn't happen. So if one of y'all could just step up, you know, and just take about a failure and a success, because they need to hear it. They need to know that it happened, you know, and they don't see us every day, but they see y'all every day. And I think that would be big.
One of the things that we oftentimes do with our national team, like a lot of times when we go on trips, we'll have, because when you're dealing with a lot of the guys, a lot of us are taught to be tough. And sometimes we mistake being tough with just handling everything and not being able to express what we're really going through. So for me personally, I often tell my team, my biggest fear, we always talk about our fear, my biggest fear is disappointing someone that has put a lot of work into like sacrificing whatever they had to make me be in this situation. And a lot of times for me, it was my parents and my mom and dad, they sacrificed their dreams for me to have the opportunity to have my dream. Now I was inside of a situation with my wife and my kids, like I want to make sure that everything be okay with them. So a failure that I had, just in terms of coaching, I go back to, I want to say the class of 2021, when I actually had Wesley Cardette, my nephew on my team, Dr. Gillian's mom, I had my son that was also on my team, and I had Coach Zach, who was coaching the team, and I thought our team was really, really good. And so that was one of the things, I wanted to be the #1 team inside of the country. And we was working, and then we kind of lost inside of the playoffs, and I felt like I just let those guys down. Now from a coaching standpoint, it wasn't just so much coaching, but those guys have put so much into it, besides the teams putting everything into it. My son was playing hard, my nephew was playing hard, everybody was there. And then when we kind of lost, I just felt like, man, that was it, you know? And it almost to the point where it's like, I didn't know if I was going to even coach the next year, because that's how impactful negatively it was to me. And kind of like, you know, I got into the gym, and then once I seen it was that next year's team that was coming up, those kids kind of like say, Coach, we're looking forward to a big year. And what kind of got me back into it was seeing the next group of kids. They wasn't concerned that I lost, but they was concerned was like, are you gonna help me reach my dreams and pour into me that next year? And I kind of realized that it wasn't really about the wins and the losses, but it's about the impact that we're having on young people. While I was thinking that I disappointed everybody by losing, it was bigger than actually the win and loss inside of the game. And kind of like even now, me coming here at Gillian and all the stuff that we've been doing is mostly just about the impact that we're able to go ahead and give to you guys. But there are times I'll go to bed, I'm crying, not just about the game, because I'm feeling like I'm letting people down. And one of the things I always encourage the guys, you got to be able to express what you're going through. And just for them, a lot of them won't say it, I'll ask kind of the question for them. They're going through, they kind of express to us, they're going through the fear of trying to get that scholarship.
Yeah.
And then some of them, especially some of the seniors stand up for a second. Seniors stand up.
Seniors
stand
prep
up.
too. Seniors prep.
Seniors in the prep, stand up. But a lot of these guys, when we're on the trip inside of Orlando, some of their biggest fear is not getting that kind of scholarship. But hey, I may do all this in terms of basketball, but what happens if I do not get this scholarship? Everything my parents is doing to try to kind of have me at this place, and they're paying financially when I'm working, but a lot of their fears is like, what happens if I do not get it? And sometimes that pressure, it can become very overwhelming for them when they're here playing, they do not have a good game, they're kind of frustrated. So what kind of advice would you give to the seniors in some of the prep school guys? It's like they're giving you everything they have, but sometimes it just don't go well. And sometimes they even express, they thinking, is it worth it? Should I quit? Like, what should I do about it?
I'm sorry. I think that's a very realistic thing that everyone goes through. When I was applying to medical school, it was a real fear that I may not get in. And I just took my whole family to another state. I took all this money. I made sacrifices. What is my next step? I think that the best thing you can do is start planning, right? You understand that you have to do everything within your power to reach your goal. But there are things outside of that that you have no control over. So for me, how I approach anything that makes me nervous is that I'm going to give everything I have to get to this goal. And once I've done that, then the rest is up to that. I think that's God, right? Because if I think somebody said, I think what's the name who plays? She said, when you try to catch your bus, you pray, and then you run as fast as you can to catch that bus. And if you miss the bus, it's just not your bus, right? So you don't go down the pathway that God just doesn't have to, right? So what if you don't run your fastest? You don't connect, right? Don't pray, you don't connect with people you need to connect with. You don't do everything you can, then you could have missed your bus, right? So what you do now at this point is you put all your resources into getting that college degree. Everything you have, you get all you have. If you get everything you have, then you can walk away with your head held high. Because we just went over the stats. Everyone won't get a college degree. But this is what we're talking about. When you plan, because if you know that you didn't get there, and that just wasn't the plan for you, that doesn't mean you don't have a career, right? That means life isn't over. Now you start career planning. You start looking at job outlook. You try to see what you're passionate about. Because if you're passionate about something and you go into that field, it won't feel like you're working. It'll feel like this is something I get to do, not something I have to do. So that's just my advice. You just go all out, do everything you can, and you plan and you prepare for if I don't get that college degree, that's not the end of the world. What is there for me and what I am interested in?
I agree with Dr. Gillian. I can think back now when I was in the position as the seniors in the back and I was having those same feelings, like I put in all this work, you know, what if I don't get to live my dreams and play college basketball? And I can remember I got 2 official visits. I got flown out to, you know, visit these colleges and they were D1 and I was like, yes, I was so excited and, you know, I was prepared and I felt good about it. I was like, okay, this is about to be my scholarship. This is mine. And unfortunately, in the end, well, I felt it was unfortunate then in the moment, but in the end, you know, they decided that they were going to go with another shooting guard and not me, and it didn't work out. And so I had 2 choices, and one was D2 and the other one was D3. The D2 was in Memphis. I wanted to go away and go to college. Neither of my parents had left the city of Memphis before, so that was really big for me to be the first one to, you know, go to college and leave the city. And so I chose the D3 option. And to make a long story short, that is exactly what God had for me, was to be there, because I wouldn't have been able to become who I am today and be a doctor. I love basketball. yes, I still play, but really thinking about it, it doesn't always come down to money, but just to put things into perspective, we know WNBA players don't make as much money as NBA players, but, you know, I was like, if we're talking about money, let me do something where I'm gonna be making more than a WNBA player. So even though I didn't quite get my dream, I'm still winning and I'm happy. And I still got to play college basketball. So I say that because I know the goal is D1. And I know that feeling of feeling crushed when I did not get that. That was the worst thing I felt that could happen to me in the world, y'all. Because I've been playing since I was 7, AAU, doing all of this. So I get it. It's scary. But just like Dr. Gillian said, you keep putting in the work, and what's for you is for you. It's always going to get figured out. But that community, taking care of your mental health is going to be important through that.
I think that's a super tough question, and it's a realistic question, and I think that's one you have. And I'm going to add to that sentiment as well, is that I believe prayer never fails, you know. If you're working hard, you're praying hard, you're asking God for this, you know, I believe He will answer your prayer. But I also have to say too that you have to show work this stuff. And even when you're just working hard, you know, y'all see each other there. I don't know if there's a fear among y'all as well, but there's people you can connect with. You know, sometimes you gotta go outside and find and say, hey man, hey, what did you do in this situation when you was at this point? You start seeing what it takes to the coaches. You start seeing what it takes to some of the other people on the staff. Hey, you know this person here. Sometimes you gotta start using your resources and tapping into that, you know, because y'all got resources. And y'all see this up here, y'all stood up. Y'all got about 20 or 30 people above y'all, in front of y'all, that's gonna be looking at y'all. And they gonna need y'all to be able to show them example like what to do when they get to that standpoint. And so I think it's super important that one, that you reach out to people that you know above. And I would tell you, I never missed this, but I ran across country with track now. And I had a long. I wanted to get a scholarship. I didn't get a scholarship until my junior and senior year. So sometimes that might be something you have to do. But if you keep your brand and they know who you are, eventually you have to show for it. You have to show things. Eventually you can reward for that. But that's a tough spot to be in. And I just say, you keep doing everything you got to just keep working hard. You keep connecting with the people you connect with. You keep sending your videos out to everybody. You keep asking for, hey, what can I do better at? Or who can I connect with? You reach out to the front of the school. You go make as many business as you can. Show your face in front of them. Because eventually one of them will show face. Eventually one of them will. You don't need one answer. You don't need one. You don't need 2. You don't need 3. You don't need 4. You need one person to give you that shot. So that shot will just keep you.
She needed you.
So that's pretty much just like our final message. We're gonna have the last doctor zoom in to just kind of tell you his story. While we're waiting, we can take questions from the audience. Anybody have any questions? So we have a hand right here. Stand up and say your name. I wasn't like your doctor. So I was in medical school during COVID, and it was tough because we had to come out of the classroom, and I think we had to do a lot of AI learning. Practicing.
We all graduated at the same time, originally when the first COVID hit, but after a while, we got into the workplace in our first year of residency, and COVID was still a thing. The Delta virus was the biggest thing, and I remember they used to have us masked up, putting everything think we didn't learn as much as we wanted because all the reasons was at home. Instead of seeing like all the other diseases that we supposed to see, all you was doing was taking care of patients with COVID.
Okay, so this is Dr. C. Ogensi. He is going to just tell you a little bit about his pathway. He is a nephrologist. He went to medical school with me and Dr. Butler. He went to residency for Broward Health in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. And then now he's at Mayo Clinic, which is one of the top hospitals in the world, where he's completing his residency in nephrology. And nephrology is just a doctor who specializes in the care of the kidney.
See the camera.
So give us 1 second.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
So early in the money, you had to pay attention because a lot of the questions I created came from this slide. So I hope you pay attention, right? I'm gonna have the staff assist me where I want you to get groups of 4 or 5. And anybody want to go group? Somebody stand up really quick and tell me what group it is. What is it? Go ahead.
Pretty much when you put questions on there, and then you put about 4 answers on which one you click which one you think it is, and get it right, and green screen, get along, get it right.
Are you timed, too?
It depends if you want a timer or not.
Okay. So, I don't know if I showed the time, but, what's gonna happen is you're gonna get these groups of 4 or 5. You're gonna have to use your cell phone, right? So it's just one cell phone for that group. I have 10 questions that I'm going to put up here. The winner of that group, everyone will get $25 gift card, okay? All right, let's calm down, calm down.
And whoever brought out that phone, they have you stand up so I can know who's going to be in each group. And one person in each group with the phone. You'll see when you do it. I think it's simple. Alright, so get ready to log in. So you can join by going to scan this code. You get, I'm talking. You can scan this code, or you can join at www.police.it, or you can get the app. So you have two ways of doing this. You're going to create a name for your group, okay? Appropriate name. You will be kicked out. You will not be able to get the money if you get the inappropriate name. So we're still talking, and I said nobody should be talking.
Come on, fellas, y'all. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go.
The only thing you need to do, you can talk privately amongst your group, is coming up with a group name and get this on your phone. So are the coaches participating? Okay. And you're in the group? Okay. That's your group right there? Okay. So, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, oh, that's all I have. So 3, 6, 9, 12. Is that somebody groups up? So I have 12 groups. Did somebody count how many groups we have out here? Is there any group that has not logged in? Because once we start, we're not